All right, today we're jumping into a really fascinating way to think about religion. And it's a theory that, it doesn't really care if the stories are literally true. Instead, it focuses on something else, its incredible power over our minds and over entire communities.
You know how it is. Whenever we talk about religion, the whole conversation usually boils down to just one thing, right? Is it true? Are the stories real? It feels like this big yes or no question. But what if that's just completely missing the point?
I mean, really, what if that's the wrong question entirely? What if the immense power of religion, the effect it has on billions of people around the world, has absolutely nothing to do with whether its stories are factually, literally true?
Okay, so this leads us to a pretty provocative idea. Here it is. What if religion is basically the most powerful collective placebo in all of human history? Now, that is a huge claim, I know. So let's really break down what that actually means.
Okay, first things first, the power of placebo. To even begin to get our heads around this theory, we've got to start with the science. What exactly is the placebo effect?
So most of us have probably heard about the placebo effect, right? It's that wild phenomenon where someone can get a treatment that's completely inert, think like a sugar pill, but they experience a real, measurable improvement in their condition. Why? Simply because they expect it to work. The medicine itself does nothing, but their belief, their expectation, that's what does the heavy lifting.
And get this, this is not just some it's all in your head kind of thing. It has real biological consequences. So, a patient gets a sugar pill, right? But the doctor tells them this is a powerful new medicine. That belief, that expectation alone, can actually trigger their brain to release its own natural painkillers, things like endorphins. And the result? They genuinely feel less pain. The effect is totally real, even if the pill itself is, well, fake.
And that right there is the key. The objective, scientific truth of the pill, it's completely irrelevant. What matters is the person's subjective and very, very real experience of getting better. In a way, their belief literally creates its own biological reality. That's the power we're talking about.
All right, let's get to the next part, religion's sugar pill. So, how on earth do we take this logic about a simple pill and apply it to something as massive and complex as religion?
Well, according to this theory, the sugar pill in religion isn't one single thing. It's the whole shebang, the entire intricate system. We're talking about the epic stories of creation and redemption, the sacred rituals and prayers you perform, that built-in community of people who share your beliefs, and even the clear moral framework that tells you how to live a good life. All of that together, that's the placebo.
So let's just put it side by side to make it super clear. In medicine, you've got the inert sugar pill. With religion, you've got these profound narratives and rituals. Both are delivery mechanisms, but what exactly is the active ingredient they're delivering? What makes it all work?
And that brings us to our third part, faith as the active ingredient. So if the stories and rituals are the pill, what's the key ingredient inside that actually makes it all happen?
The answer, according to this theory, is faith. But hold on, because we need to be really specific here. We're not just talking about intellectually agreeing that something is true. In this context, faith is an active, ongoing choice. It's a choice to trust the story, to trust its promises, and, this is crucial, to willingly suspend your doubt, especially in those moments when it's the hardest thing in the world to do.
To put it another way, think of it like this. Faith is the engine that actually starts the whole thing up. It activates the placebo. It's that psychological switch that you flip, which takes the sugar pill of the religious system and turns it into this incredibly powerful force inside your mind and body. Just picture it for a second. Someone is facing a devastating loss, or maybe a terrifying medical diagnosis. That active choice, that decision to have faith and trust that there's some larger plan, that can completely change their entire inner world. It can literally shift them from total despair to hope, from feeling helpless to finding a real sense of purpose.
Okay, which brings us perfectly to our next section, the real-world effects. Because if this whole process is real, then what are the actual tangible results? What does it do for people? Well, this is where the theory reframes the whole idea of miracles. We're not necessarily talking about, supernatural events from thousands of years ago. In this view, the miracles are the deep, life-altering changes that belief itself can produce in a person's life,
right here, right now.
And these are not small changes. We're talking about tangible benefits. Believers often report feeling a profound sense of peace. They develop this deep psychological resilience that helps them face unbelievable hardships. They get a clear moral compass to guide their actions, a powerful sense of purpose for their life, and, maybe just as important, a whole community of people to support them through it all.
So, when you step back and look at it through this lens, religion suddenly looks like something different. It's not just a dusty collection of old stories or a bunch of rules. You can see it as a kind of highly sophisticated psychological technology, a system that's been perfected over millennia, specifically designed to tap into and unleash the incredible power of human conviction.
And that leaves us with one last, really provocative thought to chew on. Maybe the most profound truth of religion isn't actually hidden in its ancient miracles. Maybe, just maybe, it's in its stunning, enduring ability to consistently produce miraculous effects like peace, resilience, and hope in the lives of ordinary people who simply have the courage to take that collective placebo. Thanks so much for joining us on The Explainer.